Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to one of our pre-recorded videos. My name is Harley. You've probably seen me already before, and I'm from the Emerald Coast Science Center. So today we are going to be doing a fun little leaf and seed identification lesson. So I've put together about 5 different types of leaves to tell you about and help you identify them. And then at the very end, we're going to do a fun little experiment / activity with you guys to see if you guys can identify 10 of the seeds that I have picked out for you guys. So before we get started though, I want to show you guys what I use to identify leaves and the best thing to use. I normally use this website called the Arbor Day Foundation. This is their book that we have at the Science Center, so this is also nice to find and use so you can carry it around with you as well. But a lot of the times I will just use their website. It's arborday.org. So you can kind of see it right there up at the top. But so if you don't have access to this, you can just use the online thing. So this is what I use to identify my leaves and my seed, most of my leaves, but it does talk about seeds a lot on there. So you'll go through it like this. You will start right here, and this is kind of how it is on the website as well. And it will ask you specific questions. You will go to that thing onto it next, and then you will proceed from there based off of what leaf you have found and discovering what the name of that leaf is. So what we're going to be doing next is I'm actually going to turn you guys down, and then we're going to get started with some vocab words and then some leaf and seed identification. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's see. That looks good right there. Awesome. Alrighty, so right here I have a couple of vocab words that I have written out for you guys. So this one right here, there are 5 that we are going to focus on today. So if you want to screenshot this or anything like that, go ahead and you're welcome to. So the first one is a blade. So you may hear me say blade a lot. That is the flat part of the leaf. So just the top part of that leaf. Then there's also something called a compound leaf. So that's a leaf with more than one blade. So this can be kind of hard to interpret. I drew a picture right here for you guys. It's kind of hard to see. So these are our blades right here. Our blades right there. Then you have the leaf stem. So all of those are connected to the leaf stem, making that a compound leaf. And then that leaf stem has the bud on the end. That is a twig. So the difference between a compound leaf and a simple leaf, which is our next vocab word, is that that single leaf will be connected at the base of that leaf stem. So if you take off a simple leaf, it'll have a bud on the end, and that is what is connecting that to a twig. Then we have deciduous. So this can be kind of a hard word to say if you're a little bit younger, but deciduous basically just means that they shed their leaves all year round. And then we have evergreen. So evergreen kind of speaks for itself if you kind of break down that word. Evergreen, those leaves are going to be green every part of the year. So they're trees with needles or leaves that remain alive and on the tree through winter. And yeah, so those are our 5 vocab words that we are going to be focusing on today. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to be pulling out different types of leaves, and the first one is right here. So this is our first leaf we're going to look at today. So this leaf right here is actually a black walnut leaf. This is a deciduous tree in the walnut family. This leaf is very hairy. If you kind of look really close around it, it's hairy or serrated around the edges of that blade. The leaves are green when they're on the tree, but once they fall, they turn to this brown color, which is what we have right here because this one has fallen off of the tree. It's not attached to the tree anymore. It's a compound leaf. You can see has multiple leaves on the side with alternate placing leaves. So the leaves are not right across from each other. You can kind of see it a little bit better on this one. The leaves are not connected right across from each other. So this is called an alternate placed leaves. So it's compound but alternate. The center of the stick is pretty piffy. So piffy actually means that it's like the pith is part of what is in the stem or the twig. So it's tissues in the stems of the plants, and they store and they transport a lot of nutrients to get nutrients to the leaves and down from the roots as well. The bark has a crisscross shape on the bark, and it's typically like a grayish black. And these seeds are very interesting because they kind of look like hickories. So let me go ahead and find this picture. I didn't have one of these seeds with me, so I had to look up a picture. Let's see if I can get there. Pictures. Maybe hard to see because it's on an iPad. So this right here, oh yeah, it is definitely very hard to see. So this is a picture of a black walnut, also very similar to the hickory nut. The actual walnut itself is a little smaller than a baseball. When they fall down on the ground, they're pretty green, and then they slowly turn black, which is, you can kind of see it in this picture, not really too much. Hence the name that it's like a black walnut. So it'll turn black, and then that's where it gets its name from. And then a fun fact about this is that this plant actually it's kind of stinky. So like if you're ever around this plant, it can get kind of stinky, but the seed itself is not stinky. It's just the tree. So that is the seed for those guys. They're gonna look like, if you see these seeds around and then you can look for these leaves, you know you have a black walnut. So that one is pretty cool. Alrighty, so the next one we are going to be looking at is, let's see, I'm going to show you guys them and see if you guys can tell me them. So this one right here, what do you guys think this is? A circular heart-shaped leaf. They grow super duper fast. This is a cottonwood leaf from a cottonwood tree. So this is a deciduous tree in the willow family. Like I said, they have that circular heart-shaped leaf right there. It's a simple leaf, so you can kind of see right there that bud at the end of it. So that is where you can see the difference between simple and compound. You'll see that bud right there on the end of it. So that means that this is a simple leaf. And it does have alternate placed leaves on its twig as well. So when these leaves fall, you don't see much of a color change. They're kind of this color on the tree as well, maybe a little bit more greener. And then these guys, I also don't have seeds of them either, but I do have a picture that we're gonna kind of look at. You may have seen these floating around a lot, or maybe your parents have as well. So whenever you think of the name Cottonwood, you probably think of like cotton in the fields or anything like that. So their seeds actually kind of do look like cotton. So you can actually see this one a little bit better. Right there you can see all those little like cotton pieces. So that is pretty cool. So once the seeds fall, the winds can carry these seeds for miles and miles. Yeah, so along with these leaves as well, you'll probably see a lot of long skinny sticks with a lot of nubs and knobbles on them, and that is indicative also of a cottonwood tree being nearby. The trees have large and lots of twisty bark, and it's a pretty straight long trunk and a very large canopy. So you'll see a lot of these leaves everywhere with some of these sticking down. So that can be indicative of a cottonwood tree. So those two, we got 3 more to go over real quick. So a couple of them I do have the seeds with them, so that is gonna work out in our favor. So this one right here, anybody guesses on what this one is? So this one is called a box elder, or some of you may know it as a ash leaf maple. This is also a deciduous tree in the maple family, hence the name. These are green right here, and then they often kind of have like a whitish pink, so they kind of look, they're a little bit lighter than what we normally see. It is a compound leaf, like you can see right here. And it does have alternate place leaves, even though right here it doesn't really look like it. Most of the time they do have alternate place leaves. And this is actually the only maple that has compound leaves. So most maples are simple leaves, which is pretty interesting. The branches on these are pretty smooth and they're somewhat brittle. They normally have a fresh green color rather than forming a bark of dead protective tissue. the bark is a pale gray or light green, and then this is the seed right here. So these are pretty cool looking seeds. You may have seen these around a lot, maybe not from a maple, but or maybe not exactly from this box elder maple, but probably from other trees as well. So the seeds are what we call a samara. So that's a new vocab word for you guys. So this is what we called a samara seed, which basically means that is a winged fruit. So you may have also heard them called helicopters. So whenever they fall off the tree, they kind of spin around in kind of this like helicopter like motion. It's pretty cool. So that's our third one, and then we're gonna go on to our fourth leaf and seed. So this one right here. Oh, I meant to show you guys, this is another picture of the cottonwood seeds, like really expanded out. Isn't that crazy? Looks like Santa's beard. Alrighty, so this next one right here, this one is a pretty cool tree. So it's a little bit different than what we've seen before. So this one is very needle-like. So any guesses on what this is? That's its seed right down there too. So this is a bald cypress, or also called a swamp cypress. So this one kind of has a lot of names because it can thrive in a wide range of soil types. So it's also called a deciduous conifer. So that is another vocab word that we can kind of dive into a little bit. So conifer or coniferous or anything like that mean that it is a cone-bearing tree. So these leaves are long, simple, alternate, green, and linear. So you can see here that the leaves on here, the needles, I mean, are uneven in length, and they flatten along the twig, unlike larches that are arranged in clusters and spur-like. So whenever you're looking through that book or from the Arbor Day Foundation or online, that's where it kind of differs, those two, between this bald cypress and the larches. It's based off of how they're arranged, either in clusters or flat like this. So in the autumn, these leaves can turn yellow or like a copper red, and the bald cypress drops its needles each winter and then grows a new set in spring. So the bark on this guy is like grayish brown, almost red, and has a stringy texture almost. So when you see these cones, when they appear in autumn, they're tough and green, and they become woody as the season progresses. So it's about an inch, and it kind of just looks like a wrinkled ball. So it's pretty cool looking right there. Alrighty, and then our last one for today, I had to find an evergreen for you guys, kind of get out of that deciduous type trees. And if you guys notice, all of these are trees. I didn't do any other like vines or weeds or anything like that. I wanted to kind of focus on trees because they're pretty cool, and we see lots of trees around here. So this one right here, this is our last tree to identify today. Any guesses on what this is? So this is what we call a Scotch pine tree. So it is an evergreen, and it's also a coniferous tree. Remember what I said about evergreen? I mean, the leaves stay green all year round, hence the name. So you can't really see it too well in here, but these needles still are green. Unlike the bald cypress over here, these needles are brown. So it's deciduous evergreen. So the needles are arranged in groups of 2. It's kind of hard to see, but each needle is arranged in a group of 2, and they're about 3 to 4 inches long, unlike the artisan and the Norway pine. Excuse me, sorry. They have like longer needles, but they are arranged in 2. So that is like the main difference you will see when kind of differing some pines from others is these are shorter, whereas like those other 2 are longer. So the cone scales are thick. Let me see if I can find a picture of it real quick. Here we are right here. So right here, there you can see those little red cones right there. They're like tipped with spines up there on the top. Yeah. So the seed-bearing cones right there, they're like a pinkish red when young, maturing to like a gray brown, and they normally are about like 2 inches long. They grow to be about that big, and they kind of look like diamond-shaped scales. It's pretty cool. So this tree, the bark is pretty thick. It has like a scaly dark gray brown on the lower trunk, and it's thin and kind of flaky. an orange on the upper trunk and the branches. So that's pretty cool. And this cone right here, all the seeds are carried in that cone. Yeah. So those are all of our trees I have today. But the last one that I wanted to show you guys, or just talk about with you guys, I can look up a picture of it real quick for you guys. It is something that if you're in the woods, you should be very careful about being around. You should always kind of have an idea of what this one looks like. Hint, hint, you can get really itchy from it. It can cause you to get a rash. Any guesses on what it is? Any guesses? It is poison ivy. So this right here is poison ivy. Here's a cool picture of it. So poison ivy has 3 leaves that kind of look like a mitten. Let's see if this picture comes up a little bit. Let's see. Oops, oh no, get out of here. I don't want to do that. Here we go. Awesome. 3 leaves that kind of look like a mitten. Wow, it's going crazy on me. So the leaf that is in the middle, it will kind of look like it has thumbs on both sides. And then the leaves that are on the outside of it, it'll just kind of look like it has 1 thumb on it. So it'll like kind of look like this, the 2 leaves on the outside. And then the one in the middle will kind of look like, like two little thumbs on the outside. In the fall, it's a reddish orange color, kind of bright, so it may look a little weird to you, but in the spring, it's like a bright green. Each leaflet has a few or no teeth along its edge, and the leaf surface is pretty smooth, but I mean, you wouldn't really know that unless you had gloves on, but you do not want to touch this because you can really get a really bad rash from it. The leaflet clusters are alternate on the vine, and the plant has no thorns, so if you touch this, like I said, you're likely to end up with a rash, so you want to make sure that you kind of stay away from this. But the reason that you could get a rash from this is because there is this clear liquid compound that is in the plant sap called urushiol, and that is what is released from those leaves that can give you that really, really harsh rash. So nobody wants to touch that one because it could hurt really, really bad. Alrighty, so the next thing that we're going to be doing, now that I showed you guys a little bit of leaves and seeds, is I'm gonna lay out this next set for you guys so that you guys can kind of get a look at these seeds and see if you guys can determine what they are. So this right here, I'm gonna show them up higher a little bit too, so you guys can see a little bit closer too. I have a total of 5 for you guys today. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what you guys can do if you want to is, where did my little paper go? Is you can kind of make a chart. Oh, here it is. This is what I want. So you can kind of make a chart that looks like this. So what's that seed? So I have 10 for you guys today, so just so you guys can discover this at home if you want. So if you want to take a picture of this, kind of make a little chart like this, what's that seed? So I'm gonna show you guys each one a little bit closer so that you guys can get a closer look at it. Pause for a little bit. You can pause the video so you guys can get a little bit closer and look at it. So this, there we go, I'll do this. So this is number 1. So flat, kind of round. Any guesses? That's number 1. Number 2, you may have seen these guys in the fall maybe. That's number 2. Number 3, this is a very good summertime snack. Number 4. These are really, really small, so that's number 4. Number 5. There's lots of these guys. This is, hint, hint, a root vegetable. Number 6. Also a very good summertime snack. Kind of looks like number 1, but if you saw the actual fruit that it was, it wouldn't look the same. So all of these seeds are fruit or vegetables. This one's kind of big. hopefully you have a good idea what this one is. If you can't see what the color is well on this one, they're green. Number 8. I didn't start liking this vegetable until I was a little bit older and in college. So I don't know how many of you kids still eat these, or if you eat them at all. Also a root vegetable. Number 9. These are super duper yummy. Very, very small seeds. And then the last one, number 10. So whenever you cut open this vegetable, you actually get a lot of these seeds on the inside of it. Alrighty, so you guys can pause right there if you want before I go ahead and tell you the answers of each of them. So that's up to you, whatever you would like to do. But go ahead and pause right now if you want to write down on your chart what you think each is, and then I will tell you what the correct answers are right now. So number 1 right here is actually a cucumber. So this right here is the cucumber seed. So these guys take about 55 to 60 days to harvest. They have like a flat, round, almost stretched out elliptical shaped. So that is cucumber. You get a lot of these in that fruit as well, or the vegetable. This right here, this is a pumpkin. So this is a pumpkin seed right here. So these guys are pretty cool. You guys probably get these out a lot, and you can actually take these out of the pumpkin and roast them, and they are super duper good. These guys actually take a lot longer to harvest, about like 90 days or so. It's pretty long. Number 3, what do we think this one is? My dad always told me that if I ate these, I would grow a watermelon in my belly. So this is a watermelon. These guys take about 80 days to harvest as well. Pretty long. Number 4. Right here, what do we think this one is? Hard to see it too. It's a tomato. Yeah, so these tomatoes are gonna grow on a vine and you'll pick them off. So they are really, really small seeds, almost kind of hairy and rusty. Number 5, I mentioned this was a root vegetable. So that means that the actual, you would have to dig it out of the ground. It is a carrot. So this is a carrot right here. So those carrots you're gonna have to dig them out of the ground to harvest them and eat them. And then up top, it will kind of just look like it is, kind of looks like cilantro or parsley growing out of the top, but it's a carrot. Yep. Number 6, what do we think number 6 was? It is a cantaloupe. So these also look similar to cucumbers, but they're just a little bit bigger actually. So 6 is a cantaloupe. 7 right here. 7 is peas. So they're green. You'll get them out of their little shell and you can eat them like this, or you can just eat the whole thing. These guys take about 60 days to harvest. Number 8, these are beets. So beets have really, really interesting seeds. These also are root vegetables. So again, you're gonna have to harvest them out of the ground like so. So they're kind of rough. They kind of look like little cones almost. So these are pretty cool. Number 9, these feel like little marbles that you would play with when you were a kid. So these are radish seeds. So these ones are pretty nifty, and radishes are also root vegetables again, but these guys grow super duper fast. So you could probably harvest some radishes in like about a month from seed. And the last one, number 10, this is pepper seeds. So a lot of the pepper seeds are gonna look like this, whether they be hot peppers, bell peppers, anything like this. These guys take a little bit longer to harvest as well, I'd say about 3 months or so. Yep. So those are that's all of I have for you guys today. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back up so you guys can see me. And then I will tell you guys goodbye. Oh, I wanna show you my book one more time. Alrighty, so that's all we have for you guys today. So before we leave, I just want to say thank you guys again for tuning in and watching our videos. I had a really fun time getting this one together for you guys because I really love like trying to find what's in my backyard. So you guys notice that I'm outside today because you guys can go outside and you can pull some leaves out off the ground and try and identify what they are. Just remember, you can use this. It's a great guide to try and find what tree is around you, but this one just focuses on trees. So if you wanted anything else, I'm sure there's something online that you could go to. I haven't done too much research on that about vines or shrubs or anything like that, but if you're looking for some fun trees and seeds, this is your guide right here. Or if you have any other questions, you can put it in the comments. Show me what you guys have found and I would love to help you discover what they are. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.